Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Peace be upon you. Okay, today we have the online class for educational psychology. So I would like you to join in the link, and also I want you to join my class in YouTube. So you have opportunity to understand what we discussed today, and we will, of course, next week meet in the in class, okay, and we will discuss more the content. Today we just discuss about the introductory course. Mostly we are talking about the scope of our developmental and educational psychology. Okay, have a great time, and let's start our session. Okay, this is our discussion on the developmental and educational psychology. In this session, we would like to understand what psychology is, what developmental psychology and educational psychology. In this session, I want you to be able to describe the nature of psychology and describe the nature of developmental psychology, also nature of educational psychology. And I would like you to be able to plan for working on your case study focus. Okay. Well, as we discussed last week, that etymologically psychology is derived from Greek words like psyche and logos, okay, which means soul and sign. So shortly, the study of psychology is that the study of the nature, origin, and destiny of the human souls. Question is that, is there any empirical data, in fact, that the soul exists? So there is another definition, which is psychology is the study of mind. And psychology is also defined as the study of the mind and behavior. It means that in this study, there are some elements of the studies like biological influences, social pressure, environment factors, affecting people act, think, and feel. Psychology, again, can also be defined as the science that studies mental processes, experiences, and behavior in different contexts. So when we are talking about this, then there are three main things that we focus with, which is the first is mental process, and secondly, experience, and thirdly, behavior. What is mental process? Of course, it's about the activities of the mind and the brain, okay, related to cognition, like remembering, reasoning, learning, thinking, problem solving, and perception, with interaction and experience, of course. Yeah. So what is experience? Of course, experience activities, acquired learning, daily life situations, like you have daily life situation, you learn from wherever you can learn. And this is subjective in nature and different for every individual, of course, yeah. And directly unobservable within our awareness and consciousness. It depends on awareness and consciousness. This is also influenced by internal and external conditions, by our own internal conditions and our external conditions. Okay. To understand, we can only be analyzing. So to understand this, we can only do the analysis of complex of internal and external conditions. And behavior means the responses or reactions we make or activities we engage, simple, complex, short, effort can be explained on the basis of stimulus response relations, or internal and external. So psychology is on the centric views. Okay, there are some points that we will learn on this focus, which is the science of mind, science of consciousness, and the science of behavior, also the science of experience and behavior. The science of consciousness, there are 3 levels of mind, which are explained by Sigmund Freud. Okay. The major perspectives of the psychology is the biopsychological perspectives, okay, evolutionary theory, and psychodynamic perspectives. This is the Freud's theory that I just told you just now. And behavioral perspectives, we will learn the theory of behavior, theories of Thorndike, Watson, Pavlov, behavioral psychology. Okay, humanistic perspectives, like the theories of Rogers and Maslow, cognitive perspectives, like the theories of PIC, Bandura, cognitive psychology. So these are main points that we will discuss in our behavioral and educational psychology. And parts of this psychology topics will also be parts of our developmental and educational psychology. Okay. Just to know that there are at least 10 branches of psychology: clinical psychology, normal psychology, educational psychology, cognitive psychology, behavioral psychology, forensic psychology, occupational industrial psychology, developmental psychology, medical and health psychology, and biopsychology, psychology. Our concern today is that we will learn on the developmental psychology and educational psychology. Okay, to have a short introductory context of the development psychology, every human being actually always have a process of change. So human change will also concern with the conditions that change is not stagnant. So inevitable, constant. There is always changes. Okay. And we will have cognitive change, emotional change, psychological change, psychological change. So developmental psychology is the branch of psychology that focuses on how people grow and change over the course of lifetime. There are some issues in developmental psychology, like cognitive development, that develop challenges and learning disabilities, emotional development, language acquisition, moral reasoning, motor skill development, personality development, self-awareness and self-concept, social cultural influences on child development, and those which will relate to our learning practice. Well, mainly the developmental focus that we will also discuss is about the physical change, cognitive milestone, social, emotional milestone, and communication milestone. Our focus will be on the theory of psychodynamic and psychoanalysis, theories of Vygotsky and sociocultural approach, social learning theory, informational processing theory, evolutionary theory, Gibson theory of perceptual development. And these are also discussed in relations with the education. So therefore, the two subject matters are combined into one in the integrated developmental and educational psychology. Well, talking about the educational psychology, of course, we can discuss in many by having many perspectives. Educational psychology itself is the study of how people learn, including teaching methods, instructional processes, and individual differences in learning. So it explores the cognitive, behavioral, emotional, social influences on the learning process. And mostly the psychologists use this understanding of how people learn to develop instructional strategies and help students succeed in. So it's very important for you as the teachers candidate to understand the educational psychology. Again, as also we discussed in the developmental psychology, that the educational psychology is actually a branch of psychology that focuses on the learning process of early childhood and adolescence. It explores the social, emotional, and cognitive processes that are involved in learning throughout the entire lifespan. We also incorporate the psychology with developmental psychology, behavioral psychology, and psychology. And we also discussed about the approaches to educational psychology, which is include behavioral, developmental, cognitive, constructive, and experiential perspectives of educational psychology. Well, what will we learn in details? We will learn psychology for learning and teaching, learners' development, learning process, individual differences in the inclusive classroom, and educational psychology in contemporary classroom. Okay, so for the first point, the psychology for learning and teaching, there are two main points that we discussed. The first is the nature of educational psychology, and we will also discuss about reflective teaching, okay? In terms of learners' development, we will discuss about the emerging scales, including the physical development, brain development, language development, school-based skills, and developmental principles. And for cognitive development, we will discuss the theory of PICs, so cognitive development, Vygotsky sociocultural theory, linking PICs and Vygotsky theory for the context of education and information processing approach to cognitive development. We also talk about socio-emotional and moral development, like understanding ourselves, okay, using the Erickson's theory, understanding others, and understanding relation with others. And of course, the main discussion for this is the identity, morality, emotion, social competence, bullying, and harassment. So we want you to understand this and to be able to analyze the phenomena and problems concerning with this, and to solve problems when you are faced to the problem relating to the point. Okay, we also work with behavioral views of learning, like classical conditioning theory, operant conditioning theory, and classroom application of the behavioral views of learning. We also work with the cognitive views of learning, like cognitive learning theory, constructivism, information, processing approach, and learning style approaches. So it's actually also relates to the Merdeka Belajar or curriculum Merdeka, so that you are able to manage your class effectively. In learning process, we also work and discuss about the humanistic approach of learning, like the basic concepts of humanism, progressive education movement, humanism, and education today. Like today, we have the curriculum Merdeka, which allows the students to choose what they want to learn and to make the students the focus of learning and teaching. So we will relate this with practical situations in our community in the implementations of curriculum Merdeka. Well, we, of course, also discuss motivation and engagement. We talk about traits and states and anxiety and arousals, and how we manage students' motivations, including the intrinsic and extrinsic motivations, and how we control and we get the effect and interest. Okay, so in this case, we will have the case study on the motivation classroom. Also, we will learn the theories of motivation, like behavioral view, social cognitive view, humanistic view, and human needs, and cognitive view. And of course, we still will work and have the case study on the motivation classroom. Okay, in the engagement in learning, of course, you have to identify some factors, including school factors, classroom factors, and social factors. These are very important for you to be great teachers and to be successful leaders, classroom leaders. Okay, not only that you are expected to manage your classroom effectively, but you have to lead your classrooms effectively too. Okay, we also discuss about intelligence, like the model of intelligence, measurements of intelligence, and learners' exceptional ability. How we manage, how we identify the student intelligence, and how to do a differentiated learning. How do we manage the diverse class for the same objectives? And therefore, learners' diversity in education also becomes our focus of learning. Like we need to work on the educational policy, and of course we discuss about inclusive education and how we manage the diverse students for effective classrooms. Don't forget that learning is also influenced by social cultural factors. Okay, so we will learn the bioecological development models and language and culture, individualism and collectivism, and resistance to people, to others, habit and culture, and multicultural education. And by having this the knowledge of this, and also having the ability to manage the social cultural factors, you will have the tendencies that will be successful. Okay, so last but not least, we of course will also discuss educational psychology in contemporary classroom, like the use of ICT in teaching and learning process, assessment and report, Also, the effective classroom management with the technology inclusion. Okay. In our sessions, all sessions, of course, will be evaluated, and our evaluations will be in terms of process-based assessment, midterm assessment, and final term assessment. So most of our activities will be having the project-based learning. Therefore, these assessments mostly will use the instruments of the projects, your project. Okay. Okay. These are our focuses on learning educational psychology. So have a great time, and next week we will have another discussion, face-to-face discussion on the developmental psychology. Okay. For today, I would like you to describe the nature of psychology, the nature of developmental psychology, also the nature of psychology, and also you have to plan your work and with the case study. And I have already written the guideline for this, and of course, you need to read it, and you have to plan to make yourself successful in joining this class. Thank you very much, and have a great time. See you next week.